It's time to get on the plane. Just a few days left, perhaps a few hours, and let's be honest, you're definitely not feeling it. Fear is crawling up your spine. There's no way you're getting on that plane. Don't worry. It's a perfectly normal feeling. If you're afraid of flying, you may find yourself obsessing over the flight as it gets closer and closer, spiraling out into negative thoughts and even negative actions, such as constantly checking the weather forecasts or reading about plane crashes online. Does this sound familiar? I'm sure you're more than aware, but I'll say it again. Negative thoughts and behaviors are absolutely useless. This doesn't mean that you have to pretend you're perfectly calm and unafraid. Fear is normal. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It's just the way we're programmed. We feel fear. Your goal shouldn't be to defeat it, but to acknowledge it, without allowing it to take control over you. There are a few exercises that can help you. Here's a simple one. Think of your luggage. Yes, your luggage that you'll be carrying on board. Focus on what will make you feel more comfortable. Save your favorite music on your phone so you can listen to it on the plane. Bring that book with you, the one that you've wanted to read for a while. Bring a crossword with you. And just in case, bring some headache medicine and maybe some cough drops. You should also think about what you'll be wearing. Remember to dress comfortably, so choose your clothes, shoes, and socks with care. You might even need a sweater just in case. Basically, take care of yourself as you climb on the plane and make sure you have everything you need. Take control. It's better that way, right? Breathe. This is Relax and Fly, the podcast that helps you relax and enjoy your flight. Like we said in the previous episode, flying is very, very safe. So then, why are so many people afraid of it? Where does this fear come from? In some cases, it starts when you're a child, and it's conditioned not only by our reactions to certain situations, but also by the behavior that we can see in the adults around us. For example, if your parent figure became anxious when the smallest of accidents happened, such as a fall when we were just learning to walk, this may have triggered a constant sense of fear, as if something bad could happen from one moment to another. On the other hand, if you were always encouraged proactively, you may have developed a positive attitude to life's curveballs. It might be an idea to think about your first experiences on a plane, about the emotions of the adults that were by your side. You shouldn't blame them, just get to know yourself a little better. If you find yourself traveling with your children or grandchildren, just remember these words and force yourself to be relaxed around the little ones. Once you get on the plane, you should encourage them. Help them to see the flight as a great adventure, a way to discover new places. Or maybe your fear comes from something else, something a lot more concrete. You may have simply had a bad experience in the past. Perhaps you found yourself flying through turbulence, and this scared you, causing anxiety. On the subject of turbulence, take two things into account. The first is that life isn't always a peaceful voyage. Sometimes flights can get a bit shaky, just like life. The second is that we have to face and manage the unexpected on our own. But turbulence on a flight is managed by professionals who know exactly what to do. It's a shame that there aren't any pilots that can take care of the other problems in our lives. That would make things a whole lot easier. But let's come to the third reason you might be afraid to fly. Perhaps you don't trust other people, and you feel uncomfortable putting your life in someone else's hands. This is something that goes far beyond a simple fear of flying and requires a bit more care. It's as if I'm thinking, only I can save myself. But that just isn't true. You're not alone. After this little break in the world of psychology, let's go back to our flight. There's just a few days or hours left, and despite your best efforts, you just can't keep your fears at bay. Well, here's a useful and simple technique. You could try to keep a journal. All you'll need is a notebook and a pen, nothing else. When you have a bad thought, write it down in your notebook. For example, you could write down, if the pilot has a heart attack, the plane could fall. Now, once you've written down the negative thought, try to contrast it with a rational one. For example, there's certainly a safety procedure that takes this situation into account. Otherwise, it would be irresponsible to allow such long flights. And that's the truth. There are 2 pilots in the cabin at any time. They check on one another, and they're perfectly trained in managing any emergency, even the least expected. Or perhaps you have a catastrophic thought like this one. A lightning bolt might hit the plane and damage it beyond repair. First of all, statistics tell us that this is a rare event, which potentially only happens once every 1,000 hours of flight. On top of this, you should know that if a plane is actually hit by lightning, well, in most cases, nothing happens anyway. The metal structure of the craft is designed specifically to withstand this sort of event. So, with just a little bit of logic and knowledge, you'll be able to chase away even the scariest of thoughts. Actually, if you feel like it, you could even read up on all the ways in which a plane works. More knowledge means less fear. In every flight, there are a few moments that can be taxing if you're afraid of flying, such as sounds that we don't fully understand. If you've flied before, try to pinpoint the moments that made you feel the most anxious and uncomfortable. Then try to find an explanation for them. It could be takeoff or landing, or even the exact moment that you set foot on the plane. So, if you're gearing up for your flight, you could search for each of these sounds and what they mean. You might document yourself by buying a book that explains how a plane works, or watching some videos on YouTube to calm yourself down a bit. You might even ask someone among the staff on board. This way, next time you get on a plane and hear something that makes you nervous, you can go over what it is in your head and calm yourself down. On the other hand, if you're already in the airport and you're about to get on the plane, remember that you're in a place with lots of distractions and opportunities. You could go shopping and buy yourself something nice, just to give yourself some encouragement. You could eat something tasty and sit down at a restaurant. The Leonardo da Vinci Airport in Rome, for example, is an actual extended museum now, offering cultural opportunities. You can admire the sculptures in the archaeological park of ancient Ostia, and also modern ones. There are even musical shows as well. Distraction is an excellent tactic. Put it to practice. The main thing is to move around and direct your mind towards relaxing thoughts. Okay, that's enough prep. In the next 2 episodes, we'll get on the plane itself and we'll see how to behave during the experience. We'll try to understand something more about how a plane works, about turbulence, about the sounds you'll be hearing during the trip, which can make you nervous, but are also perfectly normal. What I'm saying is, get ready. I'll be back soon from inside the plane. Relax and Fly is a podcast series promoted by Aeroporti di Roma and produced by Cora Media. Written by Ilaria Orru, narrated and adapted by John Vincent. Editing by Sarah Poma. The senior producer is Anna Nenna. Studio recordings by Luca Possi. Post-production and sound design by Emanuele Moscatelli. Music supervision by Luca Micheli.